Here are 5 reasons why I think that the DJI Mini 3 Pro is the best drone out there for creators right now. I want to say a huge thank you to Musicbed for being the sponsor of today's video. The first thing that I absolutely love about the Mini 3 Pro is actually the remote controller. Now, if you have ever flown drones before, you will know that it is a huge pain to plug your phone into the previous remote controls and be dependent on that. Now, this is a huge step up. Not only is the build quality on this good, just like every DJI thing they ever put out, the brightness of the screen is fantastic. The image quality coming out of this is so clean, so crisp. And I think one of the best parts about this is it actually leaves your phone available for behind the scenes content. Of course, we are content creators or wanting to create content, and having your phone accessible to create photos or videos and show people what you're creating with your drone is wildly helpful. And that actually leads me into the second thing that I love, and that is that it's so easy to set up. Now, because you have one less step in plugging your phone into a controller, when that creative idea comes, you're able to just open this thing up, take the remote control, throw this thing up in the air, and you don't have to stress about a thing. Now, I picked up the Fly More kit, so everything in here fits in this bag, which actually fits in a very small backpack as well. Easy to carry around, so it makes it super convenient. But that's not the only thing that makes it easy to set up. This smart features like object tracking are so easy to get to, you don't even have to go into a sub menu. So I was able to select this vehicle that I was driving, put the drone in the air, and it tracked the vehicle while I drove it. Now, of course, this isn't the smartest thing to do, but my eyes were on the road and my thumb was just on the joystick, actually holding it to the left so it would pan around the car. And of course, I knew that there was no objects around, so it wasn't that dangerous, and it was just me out on the road. Another thing that makes it super easy to set up is you can preset the buttons to your liking. For example, I've set one of the back buttons to be auto lock exposure. So when I get the exposure right on the horizon, I can lock the exposure and then do my pans, and then it doesn't adjust exposure automatically, which is kind of an amateur thing with drones, but I find that that functionality makes it super helpful. As well, in all 3 modes, sport, normal mode, and cinema mode, you can preset the gimbal to move a certain way at certain speeds based on the mode that you're in. So it's super convenient to use and customize to your liking. Now, the third thing that makes this drone one of the best on the market, in my opinion, is vertical video. At the filming of this video right now, I'm not aware of any other drones that can easily switch from horizontal to vertical filming. At this point, you're having to crop your 16:9 footage in to do vertical video. And the landscape that we're currently working in is, as content creators, we are constantly having to make horizontal footage and vertical footage. So that feature in this drone is an absolute game changer, and they make it so easy to get to that function. It's right on the home screen. You don't even have to search for it. You just finish recording, switch the lens, start recording, and you are good to go. And honestly, whether you are filming for yourself as a content creator or professionally for other companies, almost all of the time now they are looking for vertical videos because that is what is working in this social platform. Now, the question that you might ask before you buy this drone is, can you actually use this drone for professional work? But before we get into that, we are going to talk about today's sponsor, and that is Musicbed. Now, I've been a fan of Musicbed for the last 9 years. Ever since I started making professional video work, I have been using Musicbed to license all of my music. They have a curated roster of over 1,000 authentic and relevant artists like Tony Anderson, Utah, Zurban, Chad Lawson. They have over 40,000 songs you can pick from, which means that their browsing features have to be really good, and they are. You can choose from obviously genre, mood, tempo. You can choose if you want it to build a certain way. And the way that I actually find music most often is through their curated playlist that they're updating all of the time. And if you're struggling to find that perfect track, you can actually ask their team to find one for you free of charge. Now, trust me guys, you will hear the difference when you go to the Musicbed and listen to their music. You can sign up for free, and if you use the code TheCarCreative at checkout, you will get 1 free month on an annual subscription. Thanks again so much to Musicbed for sponsoring this video and for genuinely making my videos better. Okay, so can you use this drone for professional use? Well, that brings me to point 4 of why I think this drone is the whole package right now for content creators, is that it has 4K 10-bit color. Now, this to me is one of the biggest selling features of the DJI Mini 3 Pro. This is a feature that's in bigger drones, but now that it's in this tiny, small form factor, having that image quality really does make this a drone that you can use for professional use. Now, not only are you able to get up to 60 frames per second in 4K with this drone, you can also get insanely high quality photo images with up to 48 megapixel photos. So if you want to use this professionally, I would say you absolutely can. Having that 10-bit color and those high megapixel photos, it's definitely a great drone for professional users. Now, the 5th point that we're going to talk about before we get into the negatives is arguably one of the most important things. And that for me is that this drone has been the least stressful drone to fly ever. I've been flying drones since the DJI Phantom 4. I've flown that, I've flown the Mavic 2 Pro. As well, I have the FPV drone, and that thing is insanely high stress to fly. But for some reason, there's something about this Mini 3 Pro, maybe the lightweightness, maybe it's how cost effective it is. I don't know if you're like me and experience just almost this constant anxiety when you're flying drones, whether it's the people that are around you, whether they're gonna nag on you for flying a drone, or possibly the authorities will literally pull you over and say, you can't fly here. This drone actually solves so many of those problems, not only because it's so lightweight that you can actually fly almost literally anywhere without a proper drone license, but it's also super quiet. So you're not really disturbing those people around you. For me, it's actually solved a ton of my anxieties around flying drones. Now, if that doesn't relieve enough stress for you, they have baked a ton of their sensors and smart technology into this drone that wasn't in the previous Mini 2. Now it can avoid objects, it can stop before hitting objects. There's sensors all around it instead of just forward facing. It's a very intelligent drone. As well, they give you their master shots and all the tracking features that used to be in higher end drones. There are some downsides to this that might stop you from needing to purchase this drone specifically. This drone is incredibly lightweight, which has a huge pro for most of us, but when the wind comes, there is a pretty big impact on this drone. It gets thrown around and can't quite fly as smooth as some of the heavier, bigger drones. It didn't do too bad practically speaking. The drone looks like it's getting thrown around quite a bit, but the gimbal does quite a good job of still getting steady footage. But if it's really windy, I think you're really gonna struggle and fight the wind quite a bit. Another thing that might be a deterrent for you guys with this drone is that you don't actually get full manual control like you do with its bigger brothers. It has a fixed aperture, which means that you can only control the ISO and the shutter speed to get proper exposure. Now, in most cases, this is okay. I highly recommend picking up some ND filters. I've got these ones from Freewell and they do an incredible job. You put those on, you adjust your shutter speed accordingly. Additionally, Freewell sent the anamorphic and wide lens adapters on here, and they are pretty darn cool. They get a super unique image out of these things. I have genuinely really enjoyed having this drone compared to any of the other drones that I've used before. You just have this peace of mind to throw it up. You know you're gonna get an absolute quality image. You're able to transfer your images from this remote to your phone with absolute ease. It takes away a lot of the barriers for drone flyers to get into drone flying without the compromise of poor image quality. That's it for me, guys. I appreciate your time watching this video. Consider subscribing or checking out this video here. But otherwise, I hope to see you in the next video. Peace.